See, that worked well. Now we're going to adjust the timing, make it a little bit quicker. Works great. Let's try the most difficult of difficult, the chromatic scale ascending. Hi there, my name is Chris Chinchilla and I'm a singing teacher and a professional singer in Toronto, Canada. And I wanted to take just a couple of minutes to make a quick video overview and a tutorial for a great app called Voice Training Learn to Sing. This started for me a while ago. I was trying to find some apps that I could use for my students so they could improve their pitch for their singing. So I started looking around, downloading a bunch of different apps, and I came across this app, and it has some great features in the app. And so I emailed the developer and I said, hey, listen, what about this? What can we add this? How about this? And we started to correspond and started to add a lot of new and fun features to the app over the last little while. So I'd like to just take a couple of minutes to go through each part of the app and just explore how this app works and how you can use it to make your singing better. Now, I was looking at some of the comments for the app, and there was some people perhaps didn't exactly understand what this app is about. When it comes to singing, of course, there's many aspects to singing. Not only singing in tune, but you have to have breath support, you have to expand your range, work on tone, work on performance, work on the phrases and licks, and you name it. There are really a dozen or 24 areas of singing that you need to develop. This app at the moment is really focused on making you sing in tune. And actually, singing in tune is in fact the most important thing about singing. Because you can have all the emotion in the world, you can be singing high notes, you can be jumping around, but if you're singing a bit out of tune, sour notes or consistently sharp or flat, it's not going to sound good. It's like those TV shows where they go, oh, so-and-so was pretty good, but it was pitchy. What that means is they're singing out of tune. And learning how to sing in tune is very difficult. It takes a lot of training. And that training is called ear training. You're training your ear, you're training your brain, your ear, and your voice to all work together to be able to sing in tune. Unlike other musical instruments, I used to play the trumpet for instance, you're pressing buttons and hopefully the instrument is in tune when you press those buttons. When you sing, there's no buttons to press. You have to be able to hear all of those notes. So that is primarily what this app is about, to train you, to train yourself to sing the correct notes perfectly in tune. And that's very difficult to do on your own. It's even difficult to do with a singing teacher, which is why me as a singing teacher, I was looking for this app. Because I want to be able to show somebody, because sometimes you have a student, they're singing, they're a little bit sharp or a lot sharp, and they can't hear it yet. But you can show them, say, see, you're singing a D note when you should be singing a C note, for example. Or you're singing slightly sharp or slightly flat. And this is something you can work on your own, even without a singing teacher, to make your intonation, your pitch, your tuning better. So that's what it's all about. Why this app is useful is you can really tune your voice to sing in tune. So if you need to sing a fast phrase like whoa, 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 you can hit the note exactly. Whoa, 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 whoa. You can get those fine intonation adjustments to allow you to sing in tune and to sing a blues note or sing a chromatic scale and do all sorts of fun things. So here's the application. You can see you've got sing the note, sing the phrase, hold the pitch, free sing, interval test. So this is Voice Training Learn to Sing. Now if you press the little button there, that's for the settings. You can see a setting at the top called Best Octave. So I'll simplify that for you. If you're a beginner or intermediate singer, I would suggest leaving the box checked, because then you can sing in an octave different from the note played, like an octave higher, and you'll still get the correct note. But if you're a more advanced singer, you can uncheck the box to make sure that you have to sing in the correct octave. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you can just leave the box checked and you'll be fine. And you can look through some of the other settings that they have here, and you can play with those and see what works for you. And at the bottom, they've given me a credit, Chris Chinchilla, for all of the suggestions and the work that I've done on the app so far. And I'm looking forward to doing more in the future, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, now we're going to start off with the first set of exercises called Sing the Note. Now this is deceptively simple, because once you decide, you set the parameters for this specific set of exercises. This is all about the computer, the application, the tablet, playing a note, and then you singing back the exact same note in tune. Now for some people that may seem very, very simple, but it's really, really important. Until you can get close to 100% on this exercise, you still have work to do, because it plays a note, ooh, and you got the note. So let's go into Sing the Note. And you see the different settings here. You have the timer settings. I like to set it around 15 seconds. That seems to be reasonable. And then selecting a range of notes, that's where you select the range that you sing. You don't want it too high or too low. So for a woman, you're going to be more to the right side, and for a lower male voice, more to the left side. And for a tenor or an alto, it's going to be similar, somewhat in the middle. And let's try one. Ooh, correct. Ooh, correct. Oh, another correct. Oh. Now I want to make one point about vibrato. Not everybody has a vibrato, and everybody's vibrato is slightly different. But when you have a vibrato, I've actually gone and measured my vibrato looking at tuners and things like that. Ooh, there's a slight pitch wavering. And the larger your vibrato is, sometimes the larger the pitch can be wavering. So if you're having problems getting a pitch, there's nothing wrong with singing it in a clean tone. Just getting a nice clean tone without vibrato, because then when you add vibrato to a clean tone, ooh, it's still in tune. And let me clarify that. When I said when you add vibrato, vibrato should be something that's naturally occurring within your voice. And if you're singing in a relaxed way, your vibrato, whatever your unique vibrato is, will start to happen naturally. I've dealt with this with many students, and if you try to create a vibrato, it has an artificial sound to it, so I wouldn't suggest that. What I do suggest is continue to do your vocal training, your relaxation, and allow your voice to come out, and then your very unique vibrato will happen. I've seen it happen with many, many different students who didn't have a vibrato, and eventually they get a really cool, unique vibrato, and it's their own voice. Because if you think of your favorite singers, not all of them have the same vibrato. Some have a different sound to their voice. So you need to find your unique voice. But going back to this specific application, keep working on just nailing that note perfectly and doing it quickly without a scoop, having a nice tone, so you can spend a lot of time in this one area of the application. It's very, very useful. Let's move on now to the second block of exercises. This is called Sing the Phrase. There's a number of different criteria within it, which I will show you in a moment. But the idea behind this is that you're going to train yourself to sing 2 notes to start, and then once you get that handled, then you move on to 3 notes, 4 notes, 5 notes, and singing scales, and singing them perfectly in tune. Now you can set the time for each note, so you can sing quicker or slower. I suggest you start with the default settings, but then you can make it a little quicker as you go along. Okay, now let's move on to the second block of exercises, Sing the Phrase. And here you have a number of selectors, again your vocal range, which would have stayed the same from what you had before. And here you can select the time to hold each note. Now, leave it at the default to start, but as you become a more advanced singer, you can move the time shorter and shorter. I like it fairly short because, hey, I've been singing for a long time. So we're going to press OK, and you can select ascending or descending for your interval, and then you can go into the selecting of the level. So let's now move on. Let's select the easiest one to start, minor second. Well, that's actually not the easiest. The easiest would probably be major second, so let's do that. Ooh, easy. And you see it went very quickly because I selected this little running man here. Ooh. All right. Alright, so that's going pretty good. So now let's select something a little bit more difficult. Let's select, you can go through the 2 notes. Let's move to the major triad, which are 3 notes of the scale. Ooh, good. That was pretty easy. Ooh, not bad. Let's move on to another area. Let's try the major 7th. That can be a little tricky. Ooh, 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 ooh. That worked pretty well. Let's try something else. Okay, we're still in Sing the Phrase, and one of my favorite settings from Sing the Phrase is what's called the 5-note arpeggio. Now that came out of some emails and discussions I had with the developer. I said, hey, why not add that 5-note scale that's very common that singers use for warm-ups and for voice training. It's something like, oh, you. Very, very common vocal exercise that you use on different vowels, but hitting the notes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Perfectly in tune with a nice musical tone, and you can translate that right to singing songs. And you modulate that upwards and downwards throughout your entire vocal range, just to build up the relaxation and the flexibility in your voice. So it's now in the app, and this is a great way to train your voice. Now the key here is to not try to sing too high where you become uncomfortable, and make sure you get each and every note in tune as best you can, as well as staying nice and relaxed and having a good tone. I know singing is very complicated. Sometimes you have to do 4 or 5 things at the same time, and then you got to make it look easy. But this is a good part of training where you can just train singing a nice healthy note and really hitting it in tune, and it's really going to help your vocal development. Let's give it a shot. Button. Let's try the arpeggio 5-note, which is a 5-note scale. Ooh. That worked well. See if I can go a little faster. Now again, you might not be able to do it that fast when you're just starting, and if you need to go a little bit slower, you just select the time to hold each note. We'll try it a little bit longer and try it again. Ooh. See, that worked well. Now we're going to adjust the timing, make it a little bit quicker. Ooh. Works great. Let's try the most difficult of difficult, the chromatic scale ascending. Not bad. Now we have another great area of the app called Hold the Pitch. This is a fun area of the app, and it's a vocal exercise I've actually done with a number of my students, just to train people to have a little bit better breath support and sing an extended note, like at the end of a song if you're singing la, woo, you're singing a nice long sustained note. Now you need to train that up by training your vocal technique as well as your breath control and all those great things. But this is just a fun exercise to train yourself to sing a note in tune and to sustain the note. The only thing I would say as a singer and a singing teacher is to don't squeeze your voice or try to sing too long, because there's no point to it. Just have fun, sing the note as long as you can in a comfortable way, and see what happens. Let's see what happens. So let's have some fun with Hold the Pitch. This is where you just sing a note and hold it, and try to not strain or do anything difficult, but just have some fun singing a note. 14 seconds. And the key with this one is if you have a vibrato, if your vibrato starts modulating the note too much, it can throw you off the note. So let's move on to the next area of the application. This area is called Free Sing. This application, or this area of the application I should say, came out of some emails I sent to the developer. I said, look, it would be great to have an area of the application where you could just sing any note and then the piano will show you what note you're singing. So this is very useful if you need to work on a specific phrase in a song or to fine-tune something that you're working on. It can be extremely useful. And you also see that there's a way to record your voice singing here with one click, and then you can play it back to yourself, which is extremely useful. C, D, C, B, B flat, A. So if you need to work on songs, you can do so, and there's a little recording button. You know, many years ago when people started singing or training singing, you didn't have a tuner like this or a piano like this where you could actually sing the note and see the note as you're singing it. So very, very good for ear training because you're getting instantaneous feedback. Let's move on to the final area of the application called interval test. Now this is a more advanced version of sing the phrase, because when you're doing sing the phrase, it's playing both notes or multiple notes for you and you have to sing them. Now interval test is the kind of test professional musicians and professional singers have to go through in your training if you're taking formal training. And they don't give you both notes. What they do is they will give you one note and then they'll tell you an interval that you have to sing, perfect fourth, minor sixth, major sixth, above or below the note, which is very, very challenging. But it's extremely useful. And in a real interval test, they play the single note, then you can't sing any other notes. You just have to think, and within a very short period of time, be able to hear the note and bang, hit it perfectly. So this is very, very challenging, but if you want to become a great singer or an excellent singer, if you can work all the way through this interval test, you're going to be amazing. Now let's move on to the interval test. Of course, this is the most complicated and challenging area. You look at your voice range, it still seems to be okay. And there you select a starting note. You have to make sure you select a starting note somewhere in the middle of your range. And now let's go to beginner ascending. So again, it's going to play you the first note and then tell you the interval you need to sing, and then you sing the second note. Major third ascending. So that was a major third ascending. Major second ascending. Major third ascending. That's fine. Minor sixth ascending. Perfect fifth descending. Correct. Major sixth descending. Sing the major sixth ascending. Wow, got it. Da da 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Sing perfect fourth ascending. There, got it. Perfect fourth ascending. Now, as I said, this interval test is very, very challenging, and it's something which you could work on for a long period of time. If you could master the entire advanced interval test, you are amazing. So I'll start at the beginning, start working your way through, learn a little bit of music theory if you can, learn the different intervals. Again, why don't I just quickly go through the different intervals. You have, for instance, in an octave, you have the minor second, which is the notes right beside each other. Then you have a major second, minor third, major third, perfect fourth, tritone, or diminished fifth, perfect fifth, minor sixth, major sixth, flat 7, dominant 7, whatever you want to call it, major 7th, and an octave. So it's going to be testing you up and down, singing all of those intervals. And again, this is not something that you can do in 5 minutes. People spend years in professional singing and musician training to learn how to do this. But it's a fantastic thing to do, and I would highly suggest you're going to work at it. And I'm actually going to keep working at it myself, because I can get most of the intervals, but sometimes there's one or two maybe I can't get them as fast as I would like. So it's a wonderful training for your ear. Okay, so let's just summarize the applications. We get a sense of the overview of what the application is about and how you can use it to improve your singing. Step 1 is sing the note. That's where the application plays a single note, and boom, you sing the note. Ooh, and you nail the note, you get a good sound, and it's in tune, and you keep practicing that until you can get every single note right away. Step 2, sing the phrase. That's where you start singing 2 notes, 3 notes, 4 notes, 5 notes, and even scales and chromatic scales. You can start with the 1 and 2 or the 2 notes at the beginning and slowly work up to the chromatic scale. The chromatic scale, honestly, it takes a number of years of singing training before you can sing a chromatic scale, but it's something you can start thinking about and working toward. And the advantage of once you get a chromatic scale, then let's say you get a difficult song or you have to sing some funny notes, you're going to hit them like, whoa, 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 whoa. There was no chromatics in that. That was more of a blues scale. But working on the different scales goes into your voice and into your ear and allows you to sing different things. All right? And then we have hold the pitch. That's just a fun exercise where you can sing notes and sing healthy notes that sound good and time how long you're singing the note. Within reason. Again, you don't want to start straining and singing because there's no point. Although maybe there's a Guinness World Record for singing the longest note or something. Maybe I'll look that up after. Then we have the free sing, and that's a way for you to check the notes that you're singing to see if they are correct, and you could record your singing as well. Recording your singing is really, really important because you can listen back to it and you can see if you're in tune, you can see if you're out of tune, what your phrasing is like. Because sometimes you're singing and you might think it sounds one way and you record it and you sing back and you hear it back and it doesn't quite sound right. There's nothing better to improve your singing than recording your singing, because let's say you start getting serious and you start going into the studio and trying to record songs, you're going to find out quick that your #1 problem is intonation, because you can really hear it when you're in a professional studio, and if you're doing any overdubs of harmonies and things, boy, intonation is going to be something that is very challenging. So keep working on that. And of course the last part is the interval test, which is the most advanced area, and you can start out simple, doing simple notes, and keep building it up. So there is hours and hours of work within this application that you can develop your singing voice and your intonation. Okay, so that's about it. Just in summary, my name is Chris Chinchilla in Toronto, Canada, and I just want to say thanks for tuning in and checking out this video and checking out the application and working on it. Now again, as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to singing, there's a lot more to singing than just singing in tune. Singing in tune is essential. I guess it's the most important part of singing. You can't sing unless you're singing in tune. I guess you can think of a couple of famous exceptions to that. But in general, you have to sing in tune, and 1 or 2 sour notes can spoil the entire song. But as well as singing in tune, there's at least a dozen areas of singing that you need to develop. Breath control, breath training, relaxing your entire vocal system, using your resonators, developing your range and training your voice to sing through all your different registers, and doing the transitions between registers, which can be very tricky. Different people have to deal with that in different ways. Interpretation, memorization, performance, emotion. It just goes on and on and on, and especially tonality, having a nice tone to your voice. And this application can really bring the pieces together, because while you're working on all of the ear training and all of the singing notes precisely, you can sing with a good technique. You can bring emotional expression into it, so then when you go and you sing a real song, each note you're going to be hitting it perfectly, and people in the audience and people who hear it will go, wow, that sounds great. Because even non-trained people in the public, if they hear somebody singing and they look good, but if it's kind of out of tune, they might not know it's out of tune. They'll just say, well, it doesn't sound that great. When really the problem is being sharp or being flat or just singing a wrong note. People who are not even trained in music, they know the difference. So again, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to be doing a lot more videos in the future going through the different areas of singing training, and I hope you'll come and check those out because that should be interesting. And if you're ever in Toronto, Canada, and you want to come down to my vocal studio and try out a free trial lesson, check out the email at the end of the video and shoot me an email and we'll set up a time. All right, thanks again and have fun. Bye.